Hello everyone, my name is Spence Hartnett. I'm a level designer, and in this video I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of a personal project I recently finished. This is a level Blockout um, based on the Rogue Company IP by Hi-Rez Studios. Now I don't work for Hi-Rez, I don't work on this game, but I played it a little bit and I've watched some gameplay of it, and I wanted to see if I could make a level with its characteristics, its mechanics in mind. So for those of you who don't know, Rogue Company is a pretty interesting game. It is a 4v4 third-person shooter, and it's like a hero-based or class-based shooter. Um, and it is a tactical shooter. Like its most popular game mode is a search and destroy, Counter Strike esque game mode. It's attacking and defending players with multiple bomb sites that the attacking players must plant a bomb at, and then defending players must defend the site from bomb plants. So before I go through the actual walkthrough, I just wanted to touch on sort of my goals for the level when I started making it. I had one main goal and a few sub goals in mind when I first started this level. So this level is sort of um, inspired by another Rogue Company map called High Castle. Um, High Castle is kind of an interesting map. Um, when you are playing the demolition game mode, which is the attacking and defending game mode, as the attacking players, you spawn in on like low ground, and defending players spawn in on high ground, and you get this really strong sense of like a literal uphill battle that you have to fight to get to either of the bomb sites. And so it really requires a lot of teamwork, and it requires like full utilization of each of your class abilities in order to successfully um, take over a bomb site and plant your bomb. And it was really interesting to play and to watch people play it. And so this map is sort of inspired by that. My main goal was to sort of emulate the feeling of fighting an uphill battle as the attackers. Um, and then my sub goals were to try to create fluid flow between the three lanes of the map. This is a pretty traditional three-lane style map with either both bomb sites, I should say, being on the outer lanes, and then a middle lane that cuts up through the middle part of the level. I also wanted to try to create multiple options for attacking each bomb site that would like come down to like sort of um, creating multiple different lines of sight onto the bomb and onto defending uh, defenders, like fortifying positions. I wanted to make sure there wasn't like one go-to strategy for um, attacking either bomb site. Um, I also wanted to try to emulate the cover density of other Rogue Company maps. Rogue Company has a lot of cover in most of their levels because of the quick time to kill for their game modes. I think so. You rarely walk for more than 5 or so seconds without bumping into a piece of cover or like a barrier. And so I wanted to try and emulate that cover density in this level. And I also wanted to try and create a healthy mix of interior and exterior play space, which isn't something I've really had the opportunity to work with before. Usually my maps are either interior or exterior, and I wanted to try and um, switch it up and incorporate both of them in this level. And finally, my last sub goal. Uh, One thing I really enjoy watching in competitive shooters is when a pair of players on opposing teams are having these like long range sniper duels on either side of the level, and I wanted to try and facilitate that. I wanted to try and create some long lines of sight across various lanes, or like down various lanes, to try and facilitate these exciting, explosive like duels between skilled snipers on opposing teams. So those are my goals. Let's get into the walkthrough and see how I did. So this is the attacking spawn. Um, Actually, before I jump into that, this level is set in like the sort of like a ski resort in the Swiss Alps, which is why there are some gondolas taking you up into the peaks and down towards like a little base camp. Um, so yeah, jumping into the walkthrough, starting in the attacking spawn, you see you have a pretty big platform on which to spawn in on, and I think we'll jump into the left lane first. So coming down to the left lane, let's get our rifle out. You see you have an interior play space you can go into, and this sort of sub lane off here to the left. Like this is the leftmost edge of the map over here. We'll go inside for now. Inside you have some elevation variants, and you open up into this courtyard, and you can sort of see it over there as the A bomb site. But we're going to come up here, and so this is one position of power on the map that I wanted. I tried to create specifically for these sniper battles, these long rifle battles. You have a lot of space up here to work with. If you're a sniper, you can gather info, and then you can see quite a ways into the defenders' like fortified positions. And something that this wasn't really like an official sub goal of mine, but it was something I was pretty cognizant of when I was making this level, is third person shooters are kind of interesting, in the sense that you can manipulate your camera, and rogue companies like this where you can sort of switch which shoulder your camera's looking over. Whoops. There we go. Sorry. And you can switch which shoulder your camera's looking over, and so you can sort of like peek your camera around quite a bit and gather a lot of info. And so something I wanted to be really careful about is making these power positions too strong. So I wanted to make sure that if you're a skilled player sitting up here in this power position with a long rifle, you can gather info fairly safely, but you can't take an engagement or take a gunfight as safely. You need to put yourself in danger out in the open here in order to take a full gunfight, because otherwise, this would be probably too strong of a position if you could both, if there was cover along this entire balcony and you could gather all this info really safely and take engagements from shoulder height cover or half cover. So that's going to be the case for most of the stronger like high positions on the map. Is you can gather info safely, but you have to put yourself in danger if you want to take an engagement. So, coming out into this courtyard here, we have our A-bomb site, and it's pretty well fortified behind this two-story structure you can see. And this is like sort of the halfway point of the map. If you want to push up on the A-bomb site, you have to sort of cross this no man's land with a decent amount of cover, sprawled throughout, a decent amount of half cover and full cover, as well as this sub lane down here, which can be useful for a sort of flanking route a little bit, but also just you can take a wider angle from down here to sort of lay down covering fire. If you know an enemy is up in that fortified spot up there, you can try and help your team who might be pushing up onto this bomb site, and they don't have as wide of an angle up there. So moving up onto the bomb site itself, and then a little bit into the defenders half of the map, you see there's not a ton of cover, but a little bit in this interior play space, and it's also a two-story building, or sort of a two-story building. It's got a second-story platform here, and so same thing from up here. You know, this obviously doesn't have as long of a sight range or a sight line. So if you want to get good info from up here, you kind of need to bring yourself down onto level playing field a little bit. But you have plenty of half cover. You can hide. You can fully hide behind these windowsills. You're not really exposing yourself at all when you're down here. But as far as attacking this bomb site, I wanted to try and when I thought about the placement of this bomb site, I liked having it here and not in the building or in the middle courtyard, because I think there's quite a few decent options. There's a few different options for planting the bomb, a few different good options. Obviously, you can plant the bomb anywhere within this rectangle, but a few spots I really like are here in this corner, because you sort of you're covered from that top left spot, and any defending player who wants to try and take you off the bomb has to come out of their interior fortification to get to you. You can also plant like here on this corner if your team is able to clear up top here, and you can play around this box as cover here. And then also a slightly riskier but really strong spot you can play is on this very corner here. If you're able to clear the whole site, and you're able to get a plant here, you can actually work your way up this leftmost lane and take this spot and fully you have full view of the bomb if it's planted on that corner. So it's wide out in the open. If any defender was to come and try and defuse it, you have ample opportunity to shoot them. And there's also, even further back into this lane, there's a little bit of cover back here you can work around. And Rogue Company has these neat grapples that are on some of their levels where you can grapple up, and so I wanted to try and utilize some of those. On this level, there's a few placed throughout, and it's just another way to sort of a secondary option to attack this defender spot if you don't want to try and take the stairs. All right, so let's go back to the attacker spawn and let's take a look at the uh, other side of the map with the B bomb site. So back in the attacker spawn, um, we have the option to come to the right over here, and so the B bomb site is just up here, up those stairs. Um, we see we have another sort of no man's land we have to cross here, with a healthy mix of half cover and full cover. Um, and this also has a few different ways to move up into the mid lane, but we'll take a look at those in a little bit. Let's keep focusing on this right side here. So um, you have another sub lane out to the right here, and this is the rightmost border of the map. And so moving up onto the bomb site real quick. So it's a slightly smaller um, bomb site, but I think it's got an equal number of interesting options. But as you can see, the enemy like fortifications are pretty strong on this side of the map that you can play as a defender. You can play in here pretty safely, and you can sort of um, gather a decent amount of info on players crossing to your stairs from in here or from over here, and even further back we have some half cover here that gives you a little bit of information on when they come from their spawn, as well as down here. So this is sort of where you really feel the pressure, the uphill battle, I think, most. So as an attacker, you can play up on the stairs, or you can jump up on this box and get a really good, like almost full shoulder cover, like head glitch a little bit. And there's a few different plant options here. If you're able to clear the this middle part out, you can sort of plant here behind this box relatively safely. You can also plant here behind this box. Ooh, camera's doing funny things. And you can also sort of plant like here, and maybe watch it from inside, as well as on this outer lane. You can actually like jump up on this box. Oh no, if it wants to, but you can play up on the box here, and you have a decent amount of view, but you're also putting yourself at a bit of a risk here. So moving through this right lane, another interior play space we have here, with a couple different ways to get up. You can take the zip line up, or you can play on the stairs here. And this is another opportunity for some long range sniper battles. But this is a really strong position, because it is shoulder cover the whole way, and so I really tried to make it make the like lines of engagement really narrow, so you can't really see much out this way or shoot much out this way, and you have a little bit of info on if players cross through the left side of the map to the A bomb site, but it's just a very, very small window of opportunity that you have to shoot them. This is really more for gathering info than anything else, because it's such a strong area to hold. I wanted to make sure that your ability to engage with other players was pretty limited. So then obviously if we come all the way through, this is up at the defender's spawn point, and we can loop back around through the A, because we didn't come all the way up. This is back down to the A bomb site, and a little loop through back to the B bomb site, and then we'll go back to the attacker spawn and just take a look at the mid lane as well. So back at the attacker's site, or the attacking spawn point, I should say. You can come up the mid lane, which is like this big open courtyard between either, like sort of stuck in the middle of either bomb site and either building. You have a ample amount of cover to play with here, and you have a good opportunity to come left here if you want to. Maybe you're coming up the middle to try and gather info on how the defending team is splitting their players to hold either site. Maybe you could come up and get a little bit of info, like maybe you see three players running down their rightmost ramp to the B site, so you duck into the left here because you know there's going to be only one player on this side. Or maybe you, like the opposite on this side, maybe you see a couple players running to the left, so you come down to the B bomb site. There's also this, I need to add an affordance to this, but this is actually a one-way jump, which Rogue Company has, I think, one or two of these in their levels, maybe just one, but I think this is intended to be the quickest way to get to B. If you come up here and do this one-way jump, I don't think it actually is with the way this player controller's animations work, but if this were Rogue Company's player controller, their mantle animations are much quicker than this. So this would be like the fastest way to get to B bomb site, would be to mantle over this and then like roll and run up that way. But this is you're fully committing yourself to the B lane here a little bit by jumping over that, and you cannot jump back up over it. So it's also useful as like a sort of like a quick getaway if you're being chased from over here or chased down the mid lane. You do a quick little getaway and you sneak up to the right here, and you're able to recover some of your health without being fully taken out. So let's see. There's also this, so there's another sort of cut in to the right here from the mid lane, as well as another cut in to the left with this little jump up here, this sort of hole in the wall that gets you up into the A bomb site. So that's the main walkthrough of the level. I think I did a pretty good job of accomplishing my main goal. More so, I would say, on the right side, the B bomb, I think does a better job of emulating that uphill battle feeling. It's not quite as apparent on this left side unless you're sort of playing on this low lane down here. I think that uphill battle feeling might be a little lost when you're sort of crossing this flat neutral play space. And because you're attacking a two-story fortified position, but the defenders sort of have to get down to your level in order to effectively defend this bomb site, unless they're playing up there. So I think I did a better job of accomplishing my main goal on the right side of the map here. As for my sub goals, I think I did a slightly better job of creating multiple options for attacking each bomb site on this left side actually, as opposed to the right side. I think having a bigger bomb site with a more open play space allows for slightly more viable options for attacking and like post plant situations. Um, I think I did. I think I accomplished my sub goal of emulating cover density for Rogue Company. Um, there's a healthy mix of full and half cover throughout the entire level. You don't often run too far without bumping up into another piece, even if it's not like explicitly cover, like these are. You still have this sort of style of cover where it's just like a big barrier, and you're sort of progressively checking each spot while still being relatively hidden. Um, I think I did a good job of creating a healthy mix of interior and exterior play space. Um, I think my I think this building here is my largest piece of interior play space. Um, that this right lane from the attacker's spawn might be slightly bigger, but I don't think there's as many options for like interesting combat engagements over here. But it's a lot of like little sort of dispersed interior space among the exterior. Um, I think I did a decent job of creating long lanes for sniper battles. For example, you have this lane over here on the right, which you can sort of look at, um, look down into their interior play space, but also up into their spawn point, and then obviously the power position on that second story left building. And finally, fluid flow between lanes. I think I might have overdid it a little bit with the amount of cuts I have between the lanes. I don't know if they're distinguished enough from each other. For example, there's three inlets, or three paths from mid lane to right lane if you count the half cover here and the door over there and the stairs here, as well as this hole in the wall, this door, and this slightly more roundabout way to get over here as well. I'm wondering if that might be slightly overkill. You If you commit to a lane, on as an attacker or as a defender, like if you're committing to defend B site and you get the call that they're hitting A, it's hard to say um, without playtesting with a dedicated group of people, whether or not it's a long enough route back from B to A to make it a challenge to like retake a bomb site if your team has been taken over in a post plant scenario by the attackers. So that's where obviously playtesting plays a big role um, in those sort of situations and decisions that need to be made with regard to like maybe this needs to be closed off, or maybe it needs to be like similar to the one way over there. Maybe this is a one way jump. Maybe it's like shoulder height here, and you have to mantle it, but you cannot climb back up, or something like that. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed working on this level. I learned quite a bit working on it. Some things that I learned were um, I should have a better idea of what my my buildings are going to be used for or would be used for in the real world. I found myself placing buildings down without trying to, like, sort of just placing them down willy-nilly because I needed to block off the space with large structures, and those ended up being buildings. And then um, I didn't have a good sense of what, like, for example, I don't really have a good sense of what this building might actually be in a Swiss Alps village ski resort. Um, and I think having a better sense of what your buildings might actually, like, what the function of the building is, might help um, create a more interesting layout for the building itself, and help create more interesting, like, combat engagements within the building if you have a better sense of what it would be in a real world situation. Um, Another absolutely novice mistake I made is I didn't set my metrics for my cover and my doorways and such before I started my blockout. Um, so about part like halfway through my blockout, I realized that not all my doors were the same height and width, and not all my windows were the same height and width, and some of my half cover was um, too short. It wasn't fully covering my player's head, so I had to go back through and do like a create my like a sort of gym, like a metrics gym to pull from, and I won't be making that mistake again because that costs quite a bit of time. Um, and finally, the last thing I learned, and probably the most important thing, is I actually this is going to go on my portfolio, but I currently have a video of a previous version of this level on my portfolio where um, it's not nearly like this right side is not nearly as well defined, and I stated in my um, goals section of the previous video that I don't actually think I accomplished my main goal of um, emulating the feeling of, fighting an uphill battle, but I think the level turned out pretty okay regardless, and so I consider that a success, and I think that, and I considered it done, and I came back after a few months to, just check in on my portfolio, and I was watching the video, and I thought to myself, how can I consider this done if I didn't accomplish my main goal? So I wanted to come back and iterate on the level a lot and make sure that I accomplished my main goal. And so, in a really roundabout way, I'm trying to say that the most important thing that I learned is I shouldn't let my fear of messing things up stop me from iterating. I thought the level was good enough to be done, and I didn't want to mess anything up by making large changes after my initial blockout, and so I left it as is, and I should have s- not let that fear of messing things up temporarily stop me from iterating on the level and making it better. Um, Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. Take care.